Hello and welcome to this edition of MVCC's Hawk Talk podcast, where my guest today is Darius Wynn.
Hawk Talk with President Van Wagoner.
Darius Wynn, welcome to MVCC's Hawk Talk podcast. It's great to have you with me here, and we'll jump right into it. And if you don't mind, my first question is just tell us about where you were born and what it was like for you growing up.
I was born in Thailand, so on the border of Burma as well. So all I remember is when I was younger, I guess I was a good salesman because I would be out in the street selling food every day. And then next thing you know, I'm in America starting first grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you, your family resettled to Utica when you were 5 or 6?
Yes, 5 or 6 through the refugee program.
Okay, so refugee resettlement program
Yes, sir.
into Utica, and then you went through the Utica public school system and graduated from Proctor?
No, I started first grade at Albany Elementary, and then I went to Curtin till graduate, then Donovan, and then in 10th grade at Proctor, my family moved out of state, and then we moved to Texas. That's where I graduated high school. And then I remembered that I had resources back here in Utica. So my mentor, Rick Short, helped me out, get connected with the MVCC, and that's where I started my college journey.
So you must have been part of the Young Scholars Program?
Yes,
then,
sir.
As a mentor?
Yeah. So since 6th grade, I was part of Young Scholars Program.
Okay.
And they assigned me a mentor, or I chose a mentor, one of those.
Yeah.
So, and then now I'm here.
And so you found your way to MVCC with Rick Short as your mentor, and what was your major, and what were your classes like?
So crazy thing, I started off as a mechanical engineering tech with the mechatronics certificate while being in college. And then I realized that I wanted to do electrical service tech because it's electrician. And so I went from MET to EST with the mechatronics degree, and the courses were actually really good courses. I got to put my hands on the tools. I got to use my hands because I'm a very tech savvy kind of person. I don't like sitting around just watching people work or listening to people. So I learn with my hands.
Jump right into the applied learning experience, get to use the machines and build your skills that way.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. And did you have a chance to get involved outside of classes?
Yes. So even though I was a student, I was also an RA, so resident assistant. So I would make sure that the students were okay. I had duties because as an RA, I lived on the campus, right? So I had duties making sure that hallways, I guess, were clean, no rules are broken or whatever. And then I was also part of the international club, and I was in C-STEP as well.
The Science Technology Entry Program.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, C-STEP. And as an RA, those challenges and those experiences as a member of the residence life staff, how did you grow in that aspect?
Being an RA taught me a lot. The people or the students I met along the way, they're not all the same. They're really, really different in a big way. One person would like to play games. One person would like cars. One person would be athletic. So being able to hone in your senses and reading their body languages and learning what they really like to talk about and like to do, that's one way I've learned to communicate so well with people. Just listening to them and what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah.
So.
And aside from being an RA during your time at MV, did you have part-time jobs and work, and if so, where?
I did. I actually worked at a mechanic shop with my cousin basically the whole time I was in school, which was 3 years. And I also worked at AutoZone for 1.5 years. And I was, let's just say, the assistant commercial manager.
Okay.
While being a college student. So
wow. So with that busy schedule and all those responsibilities and still being involved in student clubs and all, did you run into any challenges? And if so, how did the college help you with any of those?
Well, there was a lot of challenges, especially being a young student, right? And So piggybacking on how I moved from Texas to coming back here to New York, my parents were actually still in Texas, so I came back alone, and I had no resources, just maybe some cousins and my mentor and some friends that I still remember. And MVCC helped me by one, I was in RA. I lived at the dorms. And two, there were a lot of programs and resources on campus. One of them was C3, which if I needed food or if I needed a bus to get to school and back, they would help me out. And then another resource was C-Step. So C-Step, I had Mayne and Ushana help me out. And from there, they would help me with deciding on what I wanted to do when I graduated, where I wanted to work. And they were basically my conduit of getting connected with people and talking to them and honing in my skills of what I really wanted to do.
And that's great. And then what did you do after? So you finished the electrical service technician program.
Yes, sir.
And then you came back for the mechatronics.
I did mechatronics while doing my EST program.
Okay.
So
That's what took you the 2-year degree and the 1-year certificate.
It could have took 2 years, but I switched my major from MET to EST.
Okay.
So that's what the holdup was.
Yeah. And then what did you do after you graduated?
I got a job at Wolfspeed, formerly known as Cree, right? So they were building a world-class fab, and I did not know that it wasn't done yet. So I signed up for the job, and luckily there was a lab in Albany where I had to drive back and forth an hour and a half every day, times 2, because I had to drive there and back for 3 months.
For 3 months to
Yeah.
get the training in Albany, and then when
Yep.
the fab opened, as Wolfspeed likes to say, it's the first, the largest, and only silicon carbide chip factory in the world.
Yes, sir. It's amazing. It's an amazing place to learn and to grow. So
Fantastic. And I remember shortly after you got the job, I remember I was running the Erie Canal 5K coming down Genesee Street, and there you were at the water station with the rest of the Wolfspeed team there. And it just reminded me how active you are in the community and how much you volunteered over the years, that there for a while you were popping up everywhere. There's Darius again and again. Did you always have that volunteer spirit, or was it kind of amplified as you came through MVCC?
I guess you could tell by my attitude, right? That I like to talk a lot and I like to be personable. So I've always had that attitude where I wanted to help people, and I've always wanted to see other people succeed and achieve their goals and dreams, especially graduating with no parents and living away from my parents. So being able to help myself, I want to help other people as well. So I also did FTC, which is First Tag Challenge, which is I would help students build robots, and we would compete with other people with Midtown Utica Community Center. Mm-hmm. And then I would also volunteer my time at the Refugee Center when I was here as well, helping out people, taking them to jobs or helping them with job interviews, helping them fill out applications, especially newly residents from other countries. Because I still remember how hard it was for my parents as well to move from a different country and to here. Yeah. So
very challenging.
Yeah.
And during your time at MVCC, looking back on that, what would you say might be your favorite part of attending MVCC?
There's a lot. One of my biggest things that I like about the school is the resources that they offer. C3, C-Step, the different programs or different clubs that a student could join, express himself, right? Like International Club, Airplane Club, Go-Kart Club, whatever club you name it, they got it, right? So you can express yourself in all different ways. That's the first thing. And second thing is the professors. I don't think I could have done it without one of my professors, Mike Higgins. He helped me out a lot. He would stay late and he would ask me if I'm okay with my classes because he knew I was working as well. And no matter how hard I was, I wouldn't say not working is hard, but like he would notice that I'm having a bad day and he would just check up on me, making sure I'm okay, get my assignments handed in. And till this day, I still keep in contact with him, and I still tell him what I do as a job, and he would give me advice on how to go about it, negotiate my contract, what I want to do, what my future is, stuff like that. So that's another one. And another thing is, I heard you said professors, but the faculty and staff. Just because it's a college doesn't mean they're here just for their job, right? Like someone like you here talking to me cares about the students and cares about the well-being of the students, being able to grow as a person, educationally, and using the skills that they've developed here, just growing up. So
very good. So thank you. So if I were to ask you just final question, close it out here, just whatever comes to mind when I ask you the question, what does MVCC mean to you?
What does MVCC mean? I don't know. It means it's a home, it's a place, it's a community, I have nothing to do at home. Sometimes I would just come, chill, walk around the campus, because it's a place where I was when I didn't have nothing. And now I got a good job, I got a nice car. But at the end of the day, I still got to remember where I came from. So that's what it means to me. Someplace where I grew up at. So
very good. Thank you, Darius. Darius Nguyen, thank you for joining me on this edition of MVCC's Hawk Talk podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Hawk Talk with President Van Wagoner.